Joining me now is federal criminal defense trial attorney Ron Chapman. Thank you for being here. We chatted yesterday, and coming off of this update regarding the cameras in the courtroom, what are the odds that those cameras get the green light?
No chance of this. Federal courts have a pretty strict rule that recording is not allowed. I think one of the things that the federal courts are very concerned about is the security aspect of all the additional parties coming into the court. The other thing is, I think they really want justice to move inside of the confines of the court so that the jury can be a bit more protected from the circus of the trial. Many of us remember the OJ trial that was televised daily. The immense pressure that was on the jury as a result of that television doesn't really bode well for justice. So I think this stays off the cameras. Georgia might be a completely different story, though. That might be televised live.
I mean, to that point, let's talk about the jury. Can an impartial jury be assembled? And this goes for both D.C. and Florida. I mean, how do you make that happen in a situation where, it's one of the most well-known figures, in the world?
Very difficult. So the prosecutors here are going to be looking to exclude people with challenges, peremptory challenges that are able to be used, exclude people who have diehard Trump beliefs where they would never follow the facts and the law and come to a just decision. The Trump camp is obviously going to be looking for people that would automatically assume Donald Trump is guilty based on what they've seen already in the media. Generally, this process ends up with a pretty fair cross-section of the public. However, this issue is so polarizing. I feel like jury selection in a case like this could take days, possibly even longer. It's going to be very difficult.
Okay.
But this case lives or dies based on jury selection for Donald Trump. He's got to get one or two people on that jury, if not more, that will always be willing to acquit him.
Let's talk about the 6 co-conspirators in this indictment. If Special Counsel Jack Smith could get any of those co-conspirators to cooperate and essentially flip on Trump, how would that affect Trump's defense?
Immensely. In fact, I imagine that one or two of them may already have. We've heard some reports of Rudy Giuliani having some meeting with prosecutors. I'm not sure where Sidney Powell stands. Clark may also be a risk for Donald Trump. But here's what the Trump team is going to do if they end up having some cooperators. There are statements made in the press by Sidney Powell, Rudy Giuliani, and others that wholly support Trump's claims of election interference. Trump is going to say, these attorneys advised me, and their advice was consistent with their public statements. So these witnesses will be boxed into a corner, either having to admit that they lied to the press and the American public, or having to admit that they legitimately held those beliefs that Trump wants to use to defend. This is going to be some very interesting cross-examination by Trump's counsel.
I'm just throwing this out here. I don't know, but if Vice President and now GOP presidential candidate Mike Pence took the stand, given his portion of the indictment listed, how damaging could Pence's testimony be? And do you think that we'd see that happen?
Mike Pence is the key to this case. And remember, Jack Smith didn't indict Trump for insightful rhetoric causing a riot on the Capitol. He indicted him for this fake electors conspiracy. The idea was fake electors would be set up in battleground states, and Pence would rely on those fake electors to cause some confusion surrounding what was going on with the election. So if Mike Pence testifies that he was pressured to count those fake electors in some way and to cause confusion, that's really the end of the story for Donald Trump. So Pence likely will be called to the stand by either party, and his testimony will certainly be pivotal. Now, given that he's also running against Donald Trump in the primary, this could be a very interesting situation, and I'm sure we'll be back on to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, it's definitely, there's a lot happening all at the same time. We're keeping our eyes peeled on all of this. Of course, Ron Chapman, federal criminal defense trial attorney, thank you so much for your insight as always. Appreciate it.
Thank you.